Hello, my Capricorn friends. This is Kristen Redman, astrological intuitive, and today we are going to be talking about what the planets have in store for you for the upcoming year of 2022. And what an interesting year this is going to be. I tell you what, we kind of start out the year on a Capricorn note, actually. So you're at the forefront here, my Capricorn friends. One of the things that is starting this year out is that the planet Venus, the planet of love and money and balance and harmony and our everything we hold a value, right? Anything that we value, including our self-worth. That planet is retrograde. It retrogrades every 2 years. And when planets retrograde in astrology, we look at it in a way of looking to the past to find answers for what's happening presently. We look for patterns, we look for things. And in those retrograde periods, they kind of come to the surface a little bit stronger than they do when the planets are not retrograde. So we start out 2022 with this planet of love and abundance retrograding in your sign of Capricorn. Now, when the planet Venus lands in Capricorn, we look at love in a lot more of a logical way, I guess you could say. It's kind of like we look at the costs and the deficits that come with love and money in our life. We take the rose-colored glasses off and we see it for what it really truly is. And this is going to be extra strong for you because it's in your sign. You are looking to the past and how you have operated in both love and money and where you have sold yourself short, right? Because this has to do with our self-worth. So this is where you start this year out a little bit different, okay? Because I think you've taken as much crap as you want or not even want, that you can even handle, right? And that's been going on for quite some time, okay? You have had Pluto, the planet of transformation, that has been in your sign since 2008. Now, Pluto takes a long, long time to make a revolution around the sun. Where we take 365 days for our year, it's going to take over 200 of our years to be equivalent of 1 year in Pluto's time because it's so far out there and it moves so slow. So when it moves into a sign, it makes a huge impact. And I can guarantee that the planet of death, loss, crisis, trauma, transformation, Pluto, when it landed in your sign in 2008, because we always feel it strongest at the beginning and when it leaves, in 2008, I can guarantee that you started feeling some major shifts in your life. And here we go into the very last year where Pluto will be 100% in your sign of Capricorn. So this is where all of the lessons, all of the healing from the grief that has happened, all of the realizations, and the last part of this butterfly turning into, the caterpillar turning into the butterfly, that's where you're at right now. And so the year starts out on that flavor where you've reached the apex of knowing who you are and what you want and what needs to be done to get there. And with Venus retrograding in your sign to start this year out, it's like, I'm not settling for less anymore. I deserve best. I have worked hard, right? Because that's what you represent as Capricorn. I've worked hard for these things. And wherever your sun lands in your birth chart is going to indicate where all these major changes are, where you're not willing to settle anymore. So we start that out. That's kind of like the underlying current with this reading that we're going to be doing today for you. So keep that in mind. But on top of that, not only have the realizations hit, this is a year where we have some major changes and new beginnings that want to come for you in terms of just your overall happiness and surrounding yourself with new people. I think you've come to a realization on who needs to go in your life and who doesn't serve your highest and best and what needs to go in the process. So we'll get to that in a minute, but I want to start with money. Let's just go to money since we're kind of in that Venus energy and talking about love and money, right? Because clearly your mind is on your money and your heart right now. And let's get right into it then. So what happens now is that you have had the planet of, I'm trying to think of which way to go with this. So you've had the planet of restriction, Saturn, starting to move through your house of finances and your finance sector in your chart. And that started in Christmas of 2020, when Saturn moved into the sign of Aquarius. Now, when that happens, right, it's a 30-year cycle. It took 30 years for that guy to make a revolution around the sun. And when the planet of lessons and karma and restriction and hard work, okay, your ruling planet is Saturn as a Capricorn. You represent all of these things, right? When it lands into Aquarius, Aquarius is a very free thinking and liberating sign. Now, this says to me that all of the hard work that you've put in towards your financial freedom, you're ready this year especially to get your long-term goals ironed out and figured out for what it is you want to do. Not only that, but it's more than that, right? This Venus retrograde on top of it has you looking to your relationship with money in general. And I think that there is a misconception that you have to work your butt off, right, Capricorn, because that's what you're here to do. I think you have this misconception that you have to put in this exorbitant amount of work to make this money. And the universe is telling you this year that the more that you understand your true worth and that you are worthy of wealth without the hard work, I think you're going to be amazed at what things can come through. It's all in deciding that you really truly are deserving of these things because you already have put the hard work in. Spoiler alert, you've already put in all of the hard work. Now it's just saying I'm deserving of these blessings, right? Easier said than done. Easier said than done sometimes. What definitely can also help with that is that we have Mercury, the planet of the mind and communication. It's our conscious thought here. Retrograding, let's look at this. It starts January 14th and then it ends on February 3rd. Now, when this guy's going retrograde, it's definitely helping you to reassess all of it, especially the verbiage that you tell yourself with money and how you make your money and how you see yourself in this process, right? The thing is, right, that even though Saturn throughout the remainder of this year is still going to be in here, there may be more obstacles, there may be some more planning, there may be some more restriction, especially if you're deciding that you want to invest more or what have you. But I'm telling you, the short-term pain that you're going to have to deal with is going to be well worth it in the long term and come back in spades. I'm telling you what, it's amazing, right? And there's so many other things supporting it too. The happier that you can be, the more that you are going to be understanding that you're deserving of these great things. And one of the major things that is happening are these eclipses that are happening in the 5th house of happiness. And then over here in the 11th house, we kind of just, friendship. We just kind of talked about that, the groups and organizations and the happiness over here. So in astrology, eclipses are huge for us. That's what we as astrologers look at when we do chart readings for people, first and foremost, for the year. Where are the eclipses hitting? All right, because eclipses bring new beginnings. They push out the old and they bring in the new. And these eclipse cycles work in 10-year cycles, so it's not going to hit in the same spot every single year. Now for you, this is where it's happening. It's saying we need to get some of these outdated beliefs and feelings and energy and people and obstacles that are preventing you from actually having fun. Yeah, so not saying you haven't had any fun since like 2012, but that was the last time that these eclipses were here. So, I mean, there is a reality to it. I can imagine with you, Capricorn, that it has just been about hard work and just focusing on your responsibilities and making sure that those are attended to and not necessarily focusing on what brings your heart joy and happiness. This year is going to bring you opportunities so you can revisit that, right? And not only with that, right, one of the main ones is going to be the April 30th new moon eclipse that happens. And not only that, it's going to be aligned with Uranus in the sky, which is the planet that frees us, it liberates us. And so this is definitely something that's going to bring through some breakthroughs for you in terms of what types of things make you happy, and it'll be in the most unexpected of ways. If you're looking for love, you might unexpectedly meet somebody that brings some sparks and fire and energy And they may be completely different than the type of person that you seriously think that you're attracted to, but they might expand you and grow you and give you those opportunities to travel and have fun and experience life in a new way, right? And then on the opposite side of it over here, we've got the 11th house. There's going to be a full moon eclipse that happens there May 16th for you. And that, I tell you what, is interesting. That's the one that has to deal with friends and where you're taking stock of the friendships and the people and the groups that you surround yourself with. So that can be maybe the church that you've gone to your whole life, or the place that you've worked at or volunteered at. You're starting to understand that it's not karmically aligned, right, with who you are now in this process since 2008 as Pluto has transformed you, and you're in the last year of it, understanding these things don't fit me anymore, and I'm ready to surround myself with new people. And that eclipse that happens May 16th starts to bring that in for you. So don't be surprised if you get thrust into the spotlight in some way in the weeks leading up to that eclipse in May. I'm telling you, you need to shine, and it's okay to shine. All right, remind yourself you're worthy to be seen, because you are, right? It's amazing how these things happen for us, especially, with that too. I mean, let's focus on that too. With love, I mean, this gives you a wonderful opportunity for new beginnings to happen, right? The 5th house is more about just fun romantic connections, nothing super duper serious. But that doesn't mean to say that it can't turn into something serious, especially in the summer, as the fast moving planets, the sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, start to move through the relationship sector of your chart. Okay. Of course, these things can happen at any point, and it's all depending on how much you want and what you really truly need inside of your heart. And these eclipses are going to help show it for you. Now, in terms of, since we're talking about relationship, let's talk about home and family next. For you in this coming year, we've got Jupiter moving through your 4th house of home, family, and just security in general. Jupiter takes 12 years to make its revolution around the sun. So the last time this guy was here was back in 2010. And when Jupiter comes through, it's a little bit different. It brings you lucky opportunities and lucky breaks out of nowhere, where your ruling planet Saturn makes you work hard and come up with a plan and stay committed to see the wonderful things that come from your hard work and your goal achievement. Jupiter's just like, who cares? You deserve it. And it gives you some luck, right? So as Jupiter moves through that 4th house of home and family, this is a time when I see for people moving to a bigger house, expanding their home, renovating their home, adding people to their home. Maybe you do meet somebody and you welcome them into your home. There was a preview of this last year as Pisces started to move through, or Pisces, what in the world am I talking about? As Jupiter started to move through Pisces, there was a little bit of a heads up, right? And now the remainder of this year, for the most part, it remains there, and this is where you start to see those things come to fruition. So maybe this is when you do, maybe you were thinking about moving last year, and now it's actually starting to take tangible form. Not only does it take tangible form with Jupiter, but it's like you get lucky break and you get a good deal in this house that nobody could find, and you're the only one that got it, and those kinds of things, right? So it's really good, and it's also good for just expanding and growing your family. So if you're looking to have children, this is fantastic. If you're looking to heal some wounds that are happening within the family and really start moving forward, that's what Jupiter pushes us to do, right? It pushes us to do that. So lots of great things with that, and lots of improvement with that. Now, let's also look next at career, because God knows career is important, Capricorn, right? So what's happening there is, I think a lot of it more so is going to be focused on relationship and yourself. Really, the relationship with yourself, I think, is most important this year. And if you're finding that your career is holding you back and isn't fitting of you anymore, by all means, this is going to be a year for massive change. Starting out the year in Mercury retrograde, I think you're already looking at that, whether it's getting a raise or trying something new. Your mind's already on your money, right? And the universe is going to respond in kind. So as long as you are sending out that signal to the universe that you are open and willing to trying something new, right? Once the wheels get moving again, And I really think that this is something that it's not even just in February you make that choice. I almost feel like it comes towards the end of the year when you decide that you may make an actual shift in career. Um, because now is the time for reassessment and action comes later. So, but it's there, right? It's absolutely there. So, with that, okay, let's look at birthdays now for the Capricorn folks. Now, this is very general overall for Capricorn here, but if you want to dig in deeper into your specific chart and see where these things are impacting, I have a link below. You can click it. We can set up a reading for um, FaceTime, phone, whatever works for you, and we can go over how this year is really going to be making an impact for you, especially in terms of that transformation, because this is once in a lifetime. You know, it really truly is. But in general, these are just like basic birthdays that fall into this category. Um, so, if your birthday falls between 12/22 to 12/31, Jupiter is going to be squaring your sun. So that planet that's trying to expand you and grow you and make really big shifts in terms of that home and family and your overall security, right? When it's squaring your sun like that, it's interesting because Jupiter is kind of like the arch nemesis of your sign, right? Saturn likes things restricted and planned, and Jupiter does not. Jupiter's like rules, blah, and it blows them away, right? It wants to push us outside of limiting boundaries and such. So this is definitely going to be a year where you are pushing those boundaries, right? And Jupiter asks us to have faith. And remember, that was kind of like the caveat we talked about earlier to really thrust you into these new levels of wealth and abundance in any area of life, not just money, but it comes with the caveat that you have to believe it's possible. You have to have that faith that you are deserving and you are worthy. And so with Jupiter squaring your sun, I think there's going to be some incidents that happen in this year that really test that faith, right? That really put it to the test. Because I tell you what, Jupiter tells us if we have faith in the darkest of times when we don't see light, that's when the magic happens. Because our faith alone is what brings that manifesting into happen, right? Even though that's not really a word. But we're making it a word right now. We certainly are, aren't we? Okay, so if your birthday lands between January 2nd to January 10th, Uranus, that planet of liberation and freedom, is going to be making a really amazing connection to your sun right now. And these ones, I mean, these are kind of once every 20-year type energies as well, too. So when Uranus, the planet of authenticity, kind of makes this amazing connection to your sun, you feel like electrified from the inside out. You want to make changes. You want to be yourself. You don't want to hold on to these burdens and limitations that everybody else has put on you and demanded of you. You want to be free and you want to be your authentic self. And so the more that you can embrace uncertainty and unexpected things this year, because that's what Uranus does, it brings these things at us. But I tell you what, when we step up to the plate and we say, okay, yes, this might have happened, but darn it, I see the benefit of it, because it makes you realize that you hold on to things that don't really work for you anymore. They're not authentic to the true person that you are now. So the more you can let them go, the better, right? And Uranus is going to be pushing you to do that. And as a result of letting go of some of these outdated beliefs, outdated things, outdated people, outdated systems, outdated friends, I tell you what, it's going to shock some people. And who cares, right? That's the attitude I think you should have this year, Capricorn. You've been so concerned about what other people think. This is a year where it's like, I don't. I care about what I want, right? And Uranus is pushing you to do that. Now, if your birthday falls between January 17th and January 20th, really tiny window right here, Pluto, that planet we talked about, the one that's making all these transformations in your life, this is a once-in-a-lifetime part of your lifetime right now. This will never happen again, where Pluto aligns with your sun. This is intensity and necessary losses that are going to be happening this year. You are definitely going to be not only pushed by that Uranus to free you from chains of the past, Pluto is going to tell you to let go of them, right? And that's okay, because when we shed the outdated, that makes room for the new that has to come in, right? And we can't rebuild on old structures. Pluto asks us to knock it down and start fresh and new, right? And so as you shed those outdated parts of yourself, I think you're going to find that there is so much beauty waiting on the other side of that hill for you. So my friends, I think what we're gonna do right now is pull a card, just like um, just like a mantra card for you for 2022 overall. And right now I'm calling on Archangel Azrael, the angel of Capricorn. And Azrael is known as the angel of death, which I know sounds quite ominous, but it's not. Because Archangel Azrael is the angel that comes to us in that time when we're crossing this realm into the next, and helps us to release and let go of all the grief that we have. So she's known as the angel of grief. She's the grief counselor of the committee of archangels that God has for us. And so we can call on her anytime when we have to let go of these things, those necessary losses I was talking to. Because of course we're going to have pain when we let go of what's familiar and what's comfortable. So anytime this year that you find yourself in these waters of, I don't know what's happening and I'm afraid of what's on the other side, if I move past what I'm used to, she's the angel that's going to help you, right? So I'm calling on Archangel Azrael now. Okay. It was like it jumped out at me there. Whoop. Clean it up, she says. Clean it up. Ooh, and I'm going to pull this card too. Look at that, and it leads to a soulmate. So many different ways. We're going to start with this one first. So I love this card because this card is telling us in our life we have to be aware of the areas where we're responsible for our side of the street and other people are responsible for their side of the street. And sometimes those lines of the boundaries can get blurred, right? And this is asking you to clean that up, right? Clean up your side of the street, but not theirs. Not theirs. And if you've been trying to for a long time with no result, it's definitely time to release that, right? And Archangel Azrael is there to help you. She's here to clear out the stagnated energy that's in your way as well, keeping you from being prosperous. And especially for someone that's out there, this is directly related to relationship. Absolutely. Trying to bring in that soulmate connection for you, but you have to let go of limiting beliefs. Maybe you are one of the ones that's saying, oh, I don't deserve somebody that's, great and has money and can travel and blah, blah, blah. I'm so used to these people that are unavailable and blah, blah, blah. And you get your mindset stuck on that. Maybe this is the year where you're ready to clear that out to make room for what you are deserving of. Not only that, but soulmates come in so many forms, right? It doesn't have to be just romantic. It can be the friends that you're bringing in, the organizations that you're bringing in. Sometimes soulmates only show up in our life for a little bit. Sometimes it could just be a random person you meet at the gas station that says something that blows your mind and changes your outlook on things. They come in lots of different forms, but the more that you can clear these old, outdated ways, the better it is to bring in the people that help you on the next leg of the path. So thank you so much for watching, Capricorn. I pray and send you wonderful energy for an amazing 2022, because it is going to be an amazing year, and I think you'll be even more amazed at what 2023 has in store coming up for you as well. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.